Hello, my name's Cody. I'm just going to do a quick video real quick, just describing what's going on in this video when I did a pool inspection, everything that I saw. So what I saw is this is a stay right pump. Keep in mind this equipment is pretty old. I'd say at least 15 years old. At one time or another, that variable speed motor got attached to that pump. The variable speed motor is very loud. Sounds like the bearings are going out. And it's really not pushing and pulling the water as it should. It's doing the job. We are having flow, but the efficiency that it's doing it such, I don't think it's at 100% anymore. I also wanted to point out this is a 36 square foot DE filter. You should have at least a 48, if not a 60 square foot filter. So you're basically undersized on this filter. Whoever put that in should have put a bigger one in. So you're basically having to run the pump twice as long to get the filtration and the flow rate that you should have with a 48 or 60 square foot filter. So that increases the pump time just to keep the pool clean. Now going to the next slide, I also noticed that you needed a minimum of a 12-inch head. That comes right out of the pump. Somebody put a 90 right at that head. That decreases the pump efficiency just because there's not enough head, meaning there needs to be 12 inches of raw pipe in order for the water to flow adequately through the system. Basically, you're just constricting that flow right off the head at a 90 degree, which is not good for the pump. In return, that will shorten the lifespan of your motor. So I'd recommend doing a 12-inch head, meaning 12 inches of vertical pipe, then a 90. Additionally, there's a 2-inch PVC, or there's a 2-inch galvanized pipe right where you see the bottom right-hand corner of that slide. It's galvanized and it's only 1.5 inches. I would recommend cutting that out to a 2-inch PVC ball valve. That will also help the max head in order for the pool to run as efficiently as possible. I also found that push pole to be extremely hard to try to backwash, so I'd recommend maybe getting a new assembly just so it's easier to use. It's just basically with C, so trying to get the thing to backwash was it was just not easy. And then there's also 2 pipes. I'm guessing that the one ABS pipe, which is the black pipe off to the right, was to divert half the water to the rocks, and then the other half to maybe where it discharged out to by the patio. I'm not quite sure, but I would recommend just doing one single pipe, not 2. On to the next slide. I didn't notice a concrete pad, so if you ever go to sell this place, an inspector is going to flag this and say that you need a concrete pad. It has to be a minimum 2 feet by 3 feet with a 4-inch thickness. And then if you look at my diagram I drew here, probably not the skillful draw, but it gets the job done. So you'll notice in the green there's at least 12 inches of raw pipe at a 90, and then followed by 3 more 90s into the inlet. And then on the outlet side, my idea of a perfect plumbing job would be to remove the 8 couplings that you have on the return side manifold, and to only eliminate it down to where you see my blue drawing, which only would be 3. So eliminating 8 couplers or 8 90s or 8 attachments would increase the flow rate, being that the water wouldn't have to move through as many little Dr. Seuss type plumbing, and to increase the flow, reducing as much work on your pump. So here's an example of my favorite setup. This is my go-to setup. This is what I put on all my remodels that I do and any equipment upgrades. So the brand of this equipment is Pentair. This is the Pentair VS2. It's still an IntelliFlow. The new ones are called VSF, so they work on a flow rate instead of a RPM or variable speed rate. So it has this really nice flap here, and then it has this electronic keypad. So if you have properties that have timers or something like that, you never have to ever worry about it again, because this has a drive system. Really nice and sleek. The pump housing comes from the old Whisper flows that were basically foolproof, and then they just basically re-engineered a variable speed motor. So that's what I really like. This is the Clean and Clear Plus cartridge filter. It's 48 square feet. What I really like about these is that they have 4 individual cartridges. There's no need for backwashing. There's no need for having to do a push-pull every time and get extra charges because of the O-rings, or have to worry about the piston going out, or the little unions that always break on the DE and sand filters. So this is just a really good filter. I've never had any problems with it, and they always do a really good job compared to a sand or a DE filter. That should work. And keep in mind, this equipment is about 7 years old, and it still makes the pool look wonderful. This pool has 0 problems. So this was a property that we've had for a while, and you know, the system always does a good job. So this is kind of my go-to again for what I would do on properties in the future, and equipment that I would rely on, just because the Jandy and the Hayward pumps, they really just don't have, they don't hold up as well as this brand. It might be a little bit more money initially, but in the long run saves you time and money and energy on phone calls, answering emails, and getting things approved, because this is such a good, reliable brand. And also, I wanted to point out a couple cracks on your decking. You're also having some areas of delamination and just complete concrete decking exposure. So we can actually go through and remove all the cool decking and apply new cool decking for you. And then, of course, your choice of color of paint. I just wanted to point that out as well.